Thank you very much. Mr. Lamborn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I want to thank all the people from the American Legion being here, Commander Barnett, and all of your staff and colleagues, Mr. Bozella from Colorado. And by the way, I'm going to beat Mike Kaufman to this. Is anyone here from Colorado? Could you raise your hand, please? And Tim, I saw you in Canyon City just the other day. So, Mr. Barnett, I want to thank you for the good work that you and everyone here does for supporting our nation's veterans. And as a representative of a district with nearly 100,000 veterans, including Tim, I'd like to take a minute to recognize, let's see, I've already covered that ground, so let me move on to my question. I'm concerned that our veterans are not receiving the services they have earned, and we're having, unfortunately, cases of people falling through the cracks, and that just simply should never happen. And we have incidents like what the IG uncovered in my clinic in Colorado Springs, in my district, or recent news out of Cincinnati. And three things that need to be happening that are not happening are transparency, accountability, and culture change. So are we doing enough here in Congress and with your help to reform? We turn around this aircraft carrier. You know, it's not going to happen over, you know, on the dime. How do we turn around this massive bureaucracy?
Well, thank you so much for that insight. And it does need to be accountable. It does need to be transparent. And I will tell you, I can't tell you how happy I am with the Veterans Affairs Committee, both the House and the Senate. I think you have listened to us. You have been our partner, and you continue to be our partner. And when we find problems, such as we find throughout the country, we're going to stand up for our fellow veterans, and we're going to make those identified for you. But just like the frustration of the telephone system, and Deputy Secretary Gibson talked about this yesterday, and he admitted that it's archaic, that people have trouble getting appointments, and the frustration level of those, especially our senior veterans, of getting appointments sometimes leads to their frustration. But again, as I said earlier, I think most of our veterans, once they get to their health care provider, they are extremely satisfied. And the VA health care system, we want to be very crystal clear. It's a system we're saving. Do you want to add anything?
Ralph?
Thank you, Lou. Mr. Lamborn, thank you for that question, because it has happened locally for us in Colorado. After the Phoenix issue back in a couple of years ago, and then the waiting list scandals that perpetuated VA, it was almost unconscionable to see this crop up in Colorado Springs. Mm-hmm. But it is still a couple years old as well. The issue there is it wrongdoing or is it making mistakes? And in talking to Director Hanfield about that, the new director of the Eastern Colorado Healthcare System, she said there's no wrongdoing. It is an issue of people making mistakes, and we can train them to do better. And I want to go back to Commander's accountability and what you said about transparency. The first step to me in accountability is transparency. That's been the problem with the wait list scandal the whole time. VA has not been transparent.
That's right.
When they are transparent, we can help them fix the mistakes. And they will find that we're going to be their greatest ally, their greatest supporter, to help them fix mistakes and to publicly stand with them and say, yeah, there's been a problem here, let's fix that problem. But you can't do that unless they want to be accountable. I would hope that by now that we never ever have to hear of another waiting list scandal. When people purposefully put veterans on the list that's not going to go anywhere, be it choice, be it to a VA appointment, that has to be investigated as to why that's happening. And yes, you have to get new people in there to work it. And yes, they have to train them to do it properly and get them to understand you have to be transparent and accountable.
Ralph, I met with her also, as did our two senators. We had a meeting down in Colorado Springs last week. And she told us this was old news, that they've been retrained, and now it's not going to, it shouldn't happen again. The trouble is, I'm still getting in my office complaints from people not seeing providers in a timely fashion and not being able to get on the choice list in a seamless kind of way. So these problems are still happening. Maybe not as much as they were, but they're still happening. So when I'm told that we've got this under control, and then I hear differently from veterans in my district, I don't buy it. Mr. Chair.
May I respond? If we can help you, I would be glad to help you with a system worth saving review of the Colorado Springs system with our veterans, our American Legion members from Colorado doing that.
All right, thank you. Yield back.
Ms. Brownlee?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.